So, okay, Leo, you know how the 10 kings take down Mystery Babylon, right? And a short time later, the beast system arises.
Yes.
How do you separate the two? What is the separation of the two? How do you define Mystery Babylon and the beast system?
Right. Okay. Well, they're two distinct empires. Mystery Babylon is a deceptive empire that's got there by stealth. Through deception of everybody. In fact, the interesting thing is with Mystery Babylon, she's got there by deception, and I think you'll find she deceived not only us, but she deceived the beast. And the beast system is totally deceived as well.
Greetings. Babylon. We're about to start a 5-part series on Mystery Babylon. Who she is, where she is, why it matters.
Murray, let's begin with the pattern of Babylon, shall we? And kick off with Babel, because I think that's a really classic situation in the Bible where we saw this, the whole world captured by an empire, and it is actually regarded as the first empire. Most people know the story about the Tower of Babel, and actually all the people spoke the same language, and it was absolutely a rebellion against God.
So what was the Tower of Babel?
The Tower of Babel was a huge construction, which was actually Nimrod was the head of the empire at that time, and he actually built it as a challenge. It was a rebellion against God. He wanted all the people of the world building this and actually diverting them away from God's attention, and that's exactly what he did. And what happened was that at the end of the day, God saw what was happening, and he actually came down and confused the people so that they all spoke different languages. And the people through that dispersed throughout the world, which is exactly what they were supposed to do anyway. God had given an instruction to get out and go out and multiply throughout the world, and the people didn't, because Nimrod held them all together to build this tower out of rebellion to God, and that's really what it stood for. So anyway, the Tower of Babel was the first example, and Babel it means, well, we see the word Babel. It's all about confusion and everything, and we know that is the hallmark of Satan. So that was the first situation, and God came down and actually got the people who were all captured under the spell of Babel out and got them to do what he had commanded them to do, which was to go out to all corners of the earth. The next one was actually that came along, which stands out is Egypt, actually, and that was to do more with the Israelites. But you know that story, I think, don't you, Murray? And how the Pharaoh, effectively the people went there during the time of Joseph, because they went there for provisions, because they'd run out of food, and Joseph had the dream, the 7 abundant years, and then the 7 years of basically nothing, and during that period, through that whole period, all the civilizations became dependent on Egypt and actually enslaved themselves. And they were enslaved for pretty much 400 years, and that's when Moses came along, as you know, and it was through that through God, they got released. So that was another situation. And then, of course, we had our famous Babylon, which you know lots about. So you might like to take over the talk on that one, Murray. Oh, you don't want to?
So Daniel was the central figure here, but Daniel lived in Babylon. He was a captive in Babylon. He went there as a child. So Daniel, being a young man to start with, and to stand up in Babylon, and you know this is a city which has just overthrown Jerusalem, and all your friends and parents and everyone like that's in jail with you. In fact, you know, and they're in Babylon. They're not allowed to leave. They're captured in there. They're slaves. Imagine how it felt for Daniel then, Leo. as a young guy like that, a clever young guy, and he would have been thinking, well, what's happening here? Where are we? And then the years would have gone on, 10 years, 20 years. Daniel's in the books, studying the Bible, and he's going through a lot. He had a lot happen to him in Babylon. It wasn't an easy road for Daniel. He did the hard yards. And, I often put myself in his position, How would we have been in those days, Would we have stood up like Daniel, Would we have would we have had the strength to stand against Nebuchadnezzar? The king of the day, Would we have had the strength to do that? Or the fortitude,
Well, it's very
Daniel
interesting.
did.
Yep. No, it's a very, very good question, and it's actually prompted me to ask a question now. If we're where we are in the world today, are we not in the same predicament as Daniel? Basically, we're forced to toe the line in ways that we don't want to do, and you have to ask yourself, are we in the same kind of pressures that it maybe not to the same degree, but there's parallels there that what we're seeing today is probably exactly the same, because truthfulness has given way to unlawfulness or unrighteousness right across the board, and we're actually standing up for truth because we follow the scripture, and that is actually an impediment to a society because they don't want people following the truth. And so it's exactly the same. And so people who are watching this, take note. What has happened in Daniel's time and Joseph's time and other people's times, we're seeing today, but it's only the start of it. It's going to build up. And you're going to see more and more of it as we progress into this timeline and see Mystery Babylon actually develop into its full might, which it's doing. And we have to say that. Yeah,
it's close to its full might now.
Yeah,
Leo.
it sure is, and I think it's peaking and could go down.
Yep.
So I think that you're, and I just like what you said as well, Murray, that when you're reading the scriptures, without being giving a lesson or something like that, it's always worth to have a little bit of empathy and try and put yourself into that time frame and time period, because you do see things, and imagine you were living there as Daniel was, and you'll see things that you probably would, when you just read, you miss, but if you actually put yourself in his shoes, you would actually see things. And this is a lot of how we've gone about it, interpreting the scripture, because it does unfold when you can see it playing out and have yourself playing that role or seeing in Daniel's shoes or other people's shoes. So that's pretty useful. I guess we could just look at one other empire that was also one of the big ones at the time. Obviously, the people came out of Babylon, and that was God's work as well. We know that through Daniel 9:23 and 24, which we keep on repeating. The other big empire that came along was Rome. And the Roman Empire, of course, that actually crunched everybody, and that is Roman Empire, and we know is a beast kind of empire. Whilst it's gone quiet, that beast is still around, and it's been around right all the way through. It just hasn't reformed again, but it's going to reform again, and that's what we're starting to see as we move forward. So let's get on to today, where we are with Mystery Babylon today, I think. Murray, do you want to have a crack at that or kick off?
Geneva is Babylon, and I believe that Babylon, the whore, sends her tentacles out from Babylon or Geneva to the whole world. And I believe the empire, the system that's been set up in Geneva is there now and operating now, and it's ruling the world as we speak now.
I think that's true, absolutely true. And what we're seeing, and I think it's, when the Bible discusses Mystery Babylon, they talk about the whore and her daughters. And it's these daughters that are just about right across the whole world and sew up every facet of our lives. And it's actually very interesting. And if we sort of look at it in the context which we tend to do, is looking at banking, we look at education, we look at religion, media, everything is pretty much covered and directed where we're basically oppressed and under her spell, and whatever narrative or things that she wants to do, she can do, and we see it, and we're affected by it. There's nobody in the world that I don't believe is not affected by Mystery Babylon's whole reach. And the same way as what we saw in these earlier empires, everybody becomes dependent on it. The Mystery Babylon is much, much bigger. It's worldwide. These other ones were geographic centric, but they had the same impact. They were actually did oppress and control populations, many peoples. Mystery Babylon has, through deceit, spread her wings right across the globe, and she's got a finger in the pie in everything. There's nothing probably you can do anywhere in the world which doesn't entail some dependence on Mystery Babylon, and that's really the reality of where we are, Murray.
I remember back in the 90s and how good it was, how peaceful it was, everybody getting along and doing stuff, and without the real wars going on like now or anything like that. There was some, but it's a different time, I felt comfortable back in the 90s. It was a safe place, It was a good. The world was a good place to grow up in. If people going to church all the time, and it was a good thing, not, those Christians down the road or anything like that. It was a beautiful place, and things have changed now, haven't they?
Well, that's right. I remember those days quite vividly in a way, and I think a lot of people would probably recall too. I didn't have a cell phone for a large part of the 1990s. I think I forget when I got my first cell phone, but it was something. It would have been in that sort of phase, I think, but they were only just coming out. I think in terms of comfort and enjoying life, I think the 1990s was definitely better in some ways than what we've got today. But in saying that, there are some advantages in with the time we're in now, and one of the big advantages is we know where we stand in the time, and we are in the end times. Probably in the 1990s, I wouldn't have even given it a consideration, actually, in the world that I was living in. Didn't cross my mind, but we do know now we're in the end times, and it's time to prepare. So I suppose from a learning curve or a wake-up call from my perspective, that's probably been the biggest thing, particularly in the last few years. And we see this huge advent of knowledge through AI. And if we look at that, Murray, I mean, that's just extraordinary, isn't what we've seen from, let's say, 2000 or something.
There's one word that you missed out there, Leo, that was prevalent in the 90s, and it's not there today. Love. It's not there. It's gone. There's no love like there used to be then. Love your neighbour. You used to talk to our neighbours, say hello, wave out to them. Now, it's not there. I live in a street where probably 2 people talk to us. It's 100 people. There's no love. The love's gone. Almost out of the world. I mean, there's still love if we look in, we see our families, we love. But, innocent people walking, strangers meeting and, it's been lovely meeting you. Good to know you, well done. Now it's a different world we're in now.
Yeah, well, I have to agree, Murray, that isolation and loneliness is one of the biggest problems in the world now. And we've seen this through people having to go and get medication for depression. We've seen suicide rates rise. A lot of things have happened, and a lot of that can be attributed to some extent to a falling away, the people not following God, and actually looking at other alternatives. And I think through looking at other alternatives, which are not love, because it can't be, the truth is love, and that's the only way to go. So effectively, by going these other ways, people are on a pathway to their own self-destruction, and I think it's borne out. And we just see it time and time again, and the whole society is quietly degenerating to an extent where exactly what you're saying, whereas love thy neighbour used to be very much to the fore, now it's ignore your neighbour. People who are living in apartments anywhere in the world, that's a pretty lonely place to be, particularly when you look at these apartment blocks which get up to 30, 40, 50 stories, and you could have anything up to about 15 families per floor. All they're doing is just passing by each other all the time, and they meet in the elevators or in the entrance or whatever like that. But there's no community spirit anymore.
But like church.
Yeah, well, it's church is a little bit like that too.
It is.
Yes, we hush your mouth, Murray. We can't say that.
The truth.
Yeah.
So Leo, we've got you go over to China on business often. What's it like there?
China's, I mean, I've got a lot of contacts and a lot of good friends over there, as a matter of fact, and I've actually got family up there as well. So it's all to me. I mean, I've always loved China, and I also love the Chinese people. But there are a lot of things that have changed there over the years in the time frame that I was there, and I can easily relate that back to the 1990s when China was basically a third world country and just developing, and from there we've seen it this mass rush to development, and everybody is the same thing. Everybody is looking for some benefit or looking to improve their life, and it generally goes through buying an apartment, and it's encumbering themselves to the banking system. Everybody, by hook or by crook, puts themselves under this Babylonian system. It is worldwide. China is definitely part of the Babylonian system.
Big time.
Absolutely. And we've only got to look at, you can look at every country around the world. They're all under it. All their heads, all the kings of the nations, presidents, whatever you like to call them, they're all basically puppets of the major puppet master, and they do his bidding for him. And it's all over the world. And it comes in different layers. You've got government, you have banking, you've got the central banks. That's another level of it as well. Then you've got through health, education, the whole lot. There's everything basically is the same. And then overlaying that through AI, technology and the whole lot, you have levels of surveillance which are building up, and we're talking about globally, just building up and building up and building up. And you've only got to look at even your phone, your computer, look at your appliances in your house, TVs. It doesn't matter. Even lights can have cameras. They can have recording devices. Everything can be a part of a network, and that's what we've got to understand. We're all part of a worldwide network.
So there's no getting out of the beast system, Leo.
The beast system is a shocking system. It's going to be a lot worse than Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon is a deceptive empire, but people, there will be a window. God is going to create a window, obviously through the destruction of Mystery Babylon, for where maybe there's an opportunity to change or come out. But definitely, what we're going to see is once that beast system's in play, we know from Revelation, many people are going to lose their lives. They're going to have to be, believers are going to have to be martyred, but irrespective of that, even the people who are not believers, they are going to be persecuted as well. This is a death cult that's going to be running absolutely amok. The only resistance, as we've mentioned before, will be the two witnesses, and they will be there for 1,260 days to hold it back, but only within bounds. It's going to be terribly destructive. So just in answer to your question, can't really tell you, let's say, telecommunications are controlled by Mystery Babylon or the beast, don't know. But put it this way, at the present time, Mystery Babylon is sitting over the beast, and that's only a temporary thing because time's marching on.
And Mystery Babylon at this present time is ruling the world.
Correct. Absolutely controlling the world. The beast is under the control of Mystery Babylon, and everybody in the world, I think we can say emphatically, is under the control in some way or dependent on Mystery Babylon as well. Wow. You can't get out of it. You're stuck in it. And I think that's a pretty key point.
So what was it? You can't get out of it.
Don't believe you can, Murray. I think that there's no way out of Mystery Babylon. Her networks are so extensive. You can try. I mean, we'll ask this in our next podcast, actually. We'll go through this and we'll get people to test for themselves. Can you come out of Mystery Babylon?
So in conclusion, Mystery Babylon is all around us. We can't get away with it.
No.
Away from it. That's why it matters now. It's everywhere. It's all through the system. You cannot. If you're living, you're in Babylon pretty much, unless you're living at the bottom of the ocean in a cave. You are in Mystery Babylon, and that's why it matters now, today. That's why we have to take note of it now. And in the next few episodes, we're going to do a deep dive into Mystery Babylon, and we'll inform you guys exactly who it is, where it is, how to get out of it. You know, where God is in all of this, where we are in all of this. But the podcast today was mainly just centered around who is Babylon. Is it here today? Does it affect us? Yes, it's here. It affects us in every way, shape and form.
The title of this episode is Why Babylon Matters. And the point is, and this whole exercise for this first episode has been to get you to recognise that everybody is in Babylon.
Yes.
Let's say 2022.
Getting a bit hot. Yeah, go for it, Leo.
Yeah, can you do that? Yeah, effectively from the... Sorry, we might have a break.
No, go for it.
That's going to look a bit funny, isn't it?